The research station floated in the dark silence of space, far from the busy trade routes of the galaxy. It was a lonely place built on the surface of a quiet moon, where only one human family lived. The father, Dr. Elias Ward, had chosen this isolation for his work. He was a scientist, a man who studied alien worlds and collected data for Earth's great archives. His young daughter, Lily, lived there with him. She was no more than 10 years old, full of laughter and energy, a child who turned the cold, metal halls of the station into something warm and alive. While Elias worked long hours with his machines and computers, Lily spent her days drawing. She loved to paint the stars, the planets, and the strange creatures her father told her about. Her small room was filled with colorful pictures taped to the walls, bright splashes of hope against the dull steel. To her, the endless dark of space was not frightening. It was beautiful. But that night, something happened that would change everything. The station's sensors began to beep, breaking the calm silence. Elias looked at the screen. A small craft was drifting in space, badly damaged, with no signal or beacon. Its hull was torn, its engines dead. Whoever was inside had no hope of survival unless someone helped. Without hesitation, Elias activated the docking bay and pulled the broken ship inside. When the airlocks hissed open, smoke poured out. The lights flickered on the strange craft, and Elias stepped forward carefully. Behind him, Lily peeked from the doorway, curious. Inside the broken ship, lying weakly against the wall, was a figure wrapped in a cloak. It was not human. The figure was tall and slender, its skin marked with strange glowing lines that pulsed faintly like veins of light. The cloak covered most of its body, but Elias could see the edges of sharp features beneath the hood. The alien woman raised her head slowly, her eyes meeting his. They were deep silver eyes filled with fear and shame. "Help," she whispered in a trembling voice, her accent rough but understandable. Elias moved quickly, guiding her out of the wreck. Her steps were unsteady, her body shaking. He placed her gently on a bed inside the medical room. His hands worked with steady skill, scanning her injuries. She was not fatally wounded, but she was exhausted, starved, and clearly running from something. As Elias tended to her, Lily stepped closer. The little girl's eyes were wide, not with fear, but with wonder. She whispered softly, "Dad." "She's so beautiful." The alien woman flinched at those words. Her silver eyes turned sharply toward Lily, almost in anger, but then softened. For a moment, she seemed unable to speak. Her hand moved to cover her face, hiding the scars that ran across her cheek. "Do not look at me," she said bitterly. "I am not meant to be seen." Her voice was heavy with shame. She turned away, pulling the cloak tighter around her body. Elias exchanged a quick glance with his daughter, but said nothing. He simply adjusted the medical scanner and continued his quiet work. Lily, however, did not move. She tilted her head, studying the alien woman with the same innocence she gave to stars and paintings. She saw no monster, no shame, only mystery. Outside the station's windows, the stars burned silently. The damaged ship lay still in the docking bay, a broken shadow in the cold void. Inside, in that small medical room, a story was beginning. A story that would challenge everything the alien woman believed about herself. She was not ready to trust. She was not ready to stay. But for the first time in her life, someone had looked at her scars and spoken the word beautiful, and that word echoed in her mind like a forbidden melody. The hum of the machines filled the silence. Elias watched carefully, waiting for the alien to speak again. Finally, she whispered almost to herself, "If my people find me here, you will be in danger. They do not forgive those who help me." Lily frowned. "But you're hurt. We can't just leave you." The alien closed her eyes. For a moment, she seemed like she might break into tears. Her body trembled, not just from pain, but from the weight of shame she carried. She had lived her life hiding, running, believing herself unwanted. Now, in the quiet of this human station, a child's simple words had cracked the wall around her heart. But danger was coming. Unseen in the distance, silent signals moved through space. Somewhere out there, others were already searching for her. And if they found her here, the little girl and her father would pay the price. The alien woman pulled her cloak tightly and whispered one last warning before sleep overtook her. "Do not look at me. Do not call me beautiful. I am nothing but a shadow, and the shadows will soon come for me." And with that, the medical lights dimmed, the station hummed softly, and the stars outside kept their silent watch. But in Lily's heart, curiosity burned. She did not see a shadow. She saw someone who needed family, and that simple truth would change everything. The research station was quiet the next morning, but the quiet was heavy, almost watchful. The alien woman had slept through the night in the small medical room, her breathing shallow but steady. Elias kept checking the monitors while Lily sat nearby, drawing quietly with her pencils. She sketched the alien's silver eyes the way they glowed faintly even in sleep. When the woman finally stirred, her movement was sharp and restless. She woke like a hunted animal, her hand grabbing for a weapon that wasn't there. Her hood slipped back, revealing more of her face, and she quickly pulled the cloak tighter again, as if ashamed for anyone to see. Elias spoke calmly. "You are safe here. No one will harm you." Her silver eyes met his, suspicious but uncertain. She looked at Lily, who smiled shyly and held up the picture she had drawn. "This is you," the girl said softly. The alien's lips parted, but no sound came out. She stared at the drawing, her expression unreadable. Then, in a voice like broken glass, she whispered, "That is not me. That is someone beautiful. I am not." Lily tilted her head, confused. "Why do you say that?" The woman turned her face away, her hands trembling. For a long time she was silent, as though speaking the truth would cause her pain. Finally she said, "My people are strict. They see beauty as purity, as perfection. A mark on the skin, a scar, even a flaw of birth. Such things are shameful. They cast me out when I was young. They called me unworthy." Her voice shook, each word soaked with memory. "I was never allowed to stand among them. Children pointed. Mothers hid their faces. Fathers whispered curses. I learned to cover myself, to walk in shadows. My people worship the perfect form, and I—" She pressed her hand against her cheek where the scars ran deep. "I was a curse." Elias listened silently, but Lily stepped closer. The little girl reached out, trying to touch the woman's hand. The alien flinched but did not pull away. "You're not a curse," Lily said with quiet strength. "You're alive. That means you're meant to be here." The alien blinked, her silver eyes flickering with a strange light. No one had ever spoken to her like that. No one had ever told her she was meant to exist. Still, she shook her head. "You are a child. You do not understand. The law of my people is ancient. It is written in the stars themselves. A flawed body is a flawed soul." Elias frowned. "And so they hunt you?" The woman lowered her gaze. "Yes, I escaped their world. But they will never stop. I carry their shame wherever I go. If they find me here, they will kill me. And you for helping me." The words hung heavy in the air. The hum of the station's machines seemed louder now, like distant drums of war. But Lily only smiled again, her voice calm and gentle. "If they come, my dad will protect you. And I will too." The alien woman gave a bitter laugh, though it sounded more like a sob. "You are brave, little one. But bravery cannot fight a fleet of ships." Outside, the stars shone silently, but the woman's fear made them feel colder. She pulled her cloak tighter and tried to rise from the bed. "I cannot stay. Your kindness will only bring you harm. I must leave before they find me." Elias put a hand on her shoulder, firm but kind. "You are not leaving in that condition. You can barely stand. If danger comes, we will face it. But for now you need to heal." For the first time, the alien woman looked truly lost. No one had ever insisted on helping her before. No one had ever chosen to stand with her against her own people. She felt the strange warmth of it, and it frightened her almost as much as the hunters who chased her. She sank back onto the bed, whispering softly, "I do not deserve this." Lily leaned closer, her small hand resting gently on the woman's arm. "Everyone deserves family," she said. "Even you." The alien's chest rose and fell quickly, as if she were fighting back tears. She wanted to argue, to push the kindness away, but her voice would not obey. Hours passed in uneasy calm. Elias repaired what little he could of her ship, though he knew it would never fly again. Lily continued to draw, making pictures of the alien not as she saw herself, but as Lily saw her, strong, mysterious, and beautiful. But outside the station, unseen by them, silent signals drifted through the void, a faint pulse like a trail of light carried across the stars. Somewhere far away, a fleet of hunters received it. They turned their ships and began to follow. Inside the station, Lily showed her latest drawing to the alien. "See? You don't look like a shadow. You look like someone who belongs in the stars." The alien stared at the picture for a long time. She felt something stir in her chest, something she thought she had lost long ago. Hope. But it was fragile, like glass. And in the darkness of space, danger was already on its way to break it. The alien woman did not sleep much that night. Even though Elias gave her a bed and safety, her mind would not rest. She sat in silence, staring at the steel walls of the research station. To her, the hum of the machines was not comfort, it was a cage. Every sound reminded her of the ships that might already be on their way. But Lily, the human child, was different. She walked in and out of the medical room as if it were the most natural thing in the world. She brought blankets, food, and her drawings. She spoke in her small, gentle voice, telling stories of Earth, of animals she had never seen but imagined from books. The alien woman had no strength to argue, so she listened. At first, she thought the child's words were meaningless chatter, but slowly she began to notice something strange. Lily never looked at her scars with disgust. She never flinched at the glowing marks on her skin. She only looked at her as though she were someone ordinary, someone worth talking to. On the third day, Lily entered the room carrying a small basket. Inside were flowers, tiny, fragile things she had grown in a glass container on the station. She placed them gently by the woman's bedside. "They're not much," Lily said, "but they make this place less lonely." The alien's silver eyes widened. She reached out slowly, touching one of the blossoms with her long fingers. It was soft, alive, full of color. Her lips parted as if to speak, but no words came. "They're beautiful, right?" Lily asked, smiling. The woman hesitated, then whispered, "Yes." For a moment, she forgot her scars. Later that evening, Lily returned again, holding her sketchbook. She opened it to a new page. On it was a drawing of the alien's hands, delicate, slender, traced with the faint glow of her strange skin. "These are your hands," Lily said proudly. "I drew them because they're special." The alien stared at the drawing, her throat tight. Hands had always been a source of shame among her people. They were too thin, too fragile, marked by light where others' skin was smooth. She remembered being mocked for them, told they looked broken, yet here was a child calling them special. "They are not special," the alien said softly. "They are wrong." "Everything about me is wrong," Lily shook her head. "No, they're different. And different is beautiful." The word struck the alien like a blade, but not of pain. Of truth. For a moment, she saw herself through the girl's eyes. Not as a curse, not as an exile, but as something rare, something precious. Her voice trembled as she asked, "Why do you say such things? Do you not see what I am?" Lily shrugged as if it were the simplest answer in the universe. "I see you. That's enough." The alien turned her face away quickly, hiding the tears that threatened to fall. She had faced hunters, storms, and exile, but she did not know how to face kindness. That night, as Elias checked the outer sensors, Lily sat beside the alien again. She hummed softly, a tune her mother once sang to her before she passed away. The sound was soft and innocent, carrying through the stillness of the station. The alien woman closed her eyes. The melody wrapped around her like a blanket, stirring feelings she had buried long ago, memories of her own childhood before shame had stolen it away. When Lily's song ended, silence fell again. But it was not the same silence. It was warmer, filled with something the alien had never known, belonging. And yet outside, danger grew closer. Far away in the void, ships moved silently, following the faint signal of her broken craft. Their scanners reached across the darkness, hunting. Every moment brought them nearer to the quiet station on the lonely moon. Back inside, Lily spoke again. "Do you know what I think?" The alien turned her silver eyes toward the child. "What do you think?" "I think you're hiding from yourself," Lily said with innocent honesty. "You keep saying you're nothing, but I think you're more than you know. You're strong. You're kind. You." The alien woman's lips trembled. I do not know how to be that," Lily smiled. "That's okay. I'll remind you." For the first time, the alien did not turn away. She let the child's words rest in her heart, fragile but unbroken. Elias entered then, his face serious. "There's something you both need to know," he said. The alien tensed immediately, fear flashing across her features. "They are coming, aren't they?" Elias nodded slowly. The sensors picked up faint traces. Ships, not far. "They're scanning." The room went cold. The alien's breath caught. She rose to her feet, cloak tightening around her body. I must go. If they find me here, they will kill you. Both of you, but before she could move, Lily grabbed her hand. No, the girl said firmly. You are family now, and family doesn't run away. The alien froze. Family. That word was more dangerous than any weapon, more powerful than any law. Her people had stripped it from her, but here it was, given back by a child. Her silver eyes filled with tears she could no longer hold back. She whispered, almost in disbelief, family. The station trembled as distant energy waves touched its shields. The hunters were close. The alien knew she should run, but for the first time in her life she did not want to, because for the first time someone saw her not as a curse. Not as a shadow, but as someone worth keeping. The night was no longer quiet. The research station shuddered with faint vibrations as the hunters' ships drew closer. The alarms had not yet sounded, but Elias could feel it in his bones. He had lived long enough on the edge of space to know when danger was near. Inside the medical room, the alien woman stood by the window, her silver eyes fixed on the stars. Her cloak hung loosely around her shoulders and her body trembled, not from weakness this time, but from dread. She could feel the presence of her people's hunters even before the scanners confirmed it. They are here, she whispered. They have found me. Elias tightened his jaw. He stood at the control panel, his hands moving quickly across the screens. I see their signals. 2 ships, maybe 3. Small scouts, but armed. They're circling the moon. Lily looked from her father to the alien woman, fear flickering in her young eyes. But instead of hiding, she took a step closer to the alien and held her hand. We won't give you up, she said softly. The alien shook her head, her voice breaking. You must. If you protect me, they will kill you. Your home, your life, gone in fire. I will not allow it. Elias turned to her, his expression calm but firm. Listen, you're not going anywhere in your condition. And I won't let them take you. They don't get to decide who lives and who doesn't, not here. The alien's lips trembled. You do not understand. To them I am nothing. To hide me is to share my punishment. They will see you as traitors. Lily squeezed her hand tighter. Then we'll be traitors together. The alien stared at the girl, stunned by her courage. No one had ever spoken such words for her. No one had ever chosen her over safety. Outside, the hum of engines grew louder. The hunters had landed. The ground beneath the station shook slightly as metallic feet touched the moon's surface. Their scanner swept over the station walls, beams of light flickering across the steel. Inside, every sound echoed like a warning bell. Elias moved quickly. Lily, go to the safe room. But Lily shook her head. No, Dad, I'm staying. She needs me. The alien tried to pull away, guilt twisting in her chest. Child, please. Do not waste your life on me. But Lily stood her ground. You're not nothing. You're family. And family doesn't run? The alien's silver eyes shimmered with tears. She had been running all her life, hiding in shadows, ashamed of her scars. And now a child, a human child, refused to let her go. The sound of metal echoed through the air. The outer doors of the station vibrated as the hunters forced their way in. Elias grabbed his weapon, a simple pulse rifle, old but reliable. He glanced at the alien. Can you fight? Her cloak fell back, revealing her slender frame. She lowered her head, then nodded. I have fought all my life, but I never fought for anyone, only for survival. Then fight for her, Elias said, pointing to Lily. The alien swallowed hard. For the first time, she felt a reason to stand. The doors screeched open and the hunters stepped inside. They were tall, armored figures, their silver masks shining under the station lights. Their voices echoed cold and cruel. Unworthy one of them sneered. You cannot hide. You carry the mark of shame. Come with us or burn with those who protect you. The alien lowered her head, her hands trembling. She had heard those words all her life. But before she could answer, Lily stepped forward. No, the child shouted. She's not unworthy. She's beautiful. She's kind. You're the ones who should be ashamed. The hunters froze, surprised by the small voice of defiance. Their eyes flickered behind the masks. One of them laughed harshly. A human child dares speak of beauty? You know nothing. But the alien's heart pounded. Lily's words struck her harder than any weapon. In that moment, she realized she did not want to surrender. Not this time, the hunters raised their weapons. Elias aimed his rifle. The room filled with tension so sharp it could shatter with a breath. Then the first shot rang out. The blast struck the wall, sending sparks across the floor. Elias fired back, forcing the hunters into cover. The alien woman's body moved on instinct. She leapt forward with surprising speed, striking one of the armored figures with her glowing hands. Energy surged, knocking him backward. Lily cried out, but her eyes shone with pride. For the first time, the alien fought not as a hunted exile, but as someone defending a family. The hunters regrouped, their voices filled with fury. "You choose death, unworthy one. Then death you shall have." Elias and the alien stood side by side, weapons and courage ready. Lily pressed herself against the wall, her small hands clasped in prayer, whispering the same word again and again: family, family, family. The battle had begun, and the quiet station on the lonely moon was no longer silent. But in the heart of the alien woman, something had changed. For the first time in her life, she was not running. She was standing, and she would not fall easily. The station shook with the force of weapons. Sparks leapt from the walls as energy blasts cut through the metal. The hunters moved like shadows, their armored bodies gleaming, their voices sharp and cruel. The alien woman, once an exile who hid her face, stood in the middle of the chaos. Her cloak had been burned away in the first clash, revealing her scars, her glowing veins, her imperfections. For a moment she froze, ashamed of being seen like this. The hunter's laughter cut through the smoke. "There she is, the unworthy one sneered. His silver mask reflected the firelight. "Look at her broken skin. Look at the curse she carries. This is what your child protects, human? A disgrace?" Another stepped forward, his weapon aimed at Elias. "Hand her over, or you and your little girl will die with her shame." Elias held his rifle steady, his jaw tight. He did not answer. His eyes flicked toward Lily, who stood near the corner, clutching her sketchbook against her chest like a shield. The child's eyes were wide, but there was no fear in them, only anger. And then she spoke. Her voice was small but fierce, cutting through the hunter's mockery. "You're wrong." The hunters turned, their helmets gleaming as they looked at the child who dared to defy them. "She's not a disgrace," Lily said, stepping forward. Her little feet echoed against the steel floor. "She's beautiful. She's stronger than you. And she's family," the alien woman gasped. Her silver eyes widened, her heart pounding in disbelief. No one had ever called her those words, not without cruelty. But here was a child, fearless in front of armed hunters, speaking truth that no adult had ever dared. The hunters laughed harshly. "A human child knows nothing of beauty. She is blind, innocent. When she grows, she will learn the truth of our laws." But Lily shook her head. "No, you're the blind ones. You only see scars. I see her heart." Her words hung in the air like lightning. The alien woman's chest ached as if her heart were breaking. She wanted to cry, to scream, to hide. But more than anything, she wanted to believe the child's words. One of the hunters snarled, "Enough. She dies now, and so does the little one who dares speak." He raised his weapon, aiming at Lily. Time slowed. Elias shouted, raising his rifle. The alien's body moved faster than thought. She leapt in front of Lily, her glowing hands rising in defense. The blast struck her directly, sending a shockwave through the room. Pain tore through her body, but she did not fall. Her silver eyes burned brighter than ever before. "No," she roared, her voice shaking the walls. "You will not touch her!" The hunter stumbled back, shocked at her sudden strength. Energy pulsed from her scars, flowing into her arms like fire. She had always seen her glowing marks as shame, but now they were power. Power born from the truth the child had given her. Elias took the chance and fired, striking one of the hunter's armor and sending him crashing to the floor. The alien woman turned, her hands glowing brighter, and struck another with a blast of light, but the leader stood firm. His voice was cold. "You think one child's words can change the stars? You are still unworthy. You will always be unworthy." The alien's body trembled. For a moment, the weight of his words pressed down on her. She almost believed him. Then she felt a small hand clutch her arm. Lily's hand. The child looked up at her with wide, shining eyes. "Don't believe them." "Believe me," the alien's breath caught. She turned her gaze back to the hunters. Her voice was steady now, stronger than she ever thought it could be. "I was unworthy to you," she said, her voice carrying like thunder. "But not to her. She sees me. And she is braver than all of you." The hunters shifted uneasily. They had never faced such defiance, not from her, not from anyone marked as flawed. "You call me broken," she continued, her silver eyes blazing. "But these scars, these marks, they are mine. They are my strength. And this child sees what you never could. That makes me more than you." For the first time, the hunters hesitated. Their weapons did not lower, but their voices faltered. Lily stepped forward again, raising her little sketchbook. She opened it to a drawing she had made, the alien standing tall, her scars glowing like stars. "See?" Lily said. "This is her. This is the truth. She's beautiful." The alien's heart nearly burst. Tears streamed down her cheeks, glowing faintly as they fell. For so long she had hidden, believing she was cursed. But now, in the eyes of a child, she saw herself differently. Not as broken, not as unworthy, but as someone who mattered. The hunter's leader growled, furious. "Enough of this weakness. Kill them all!" He raised his weapon. Elias fired back. The room exploded in chaos once more. But in that storm of fire and smoke, one truth rang louder than weapons, louder than law, louder than fear. The truth a child had spoken. She is beautiful, and that truth would not be silenced. The station burned with light and sound. Sparks rained down from the ceiling as blasts ripped through the walls. The hunters moved like wolves, their armored boots thundering against the metal floor. Their voices were sharp with fury, echoing inside the narrow halls. But the alien woman no longer cowered. She no longer pulled her cloak tight to hide her scars. She stood tall, her glowing veins burning brighter with every breath. For years she had believed her marks were shame. Now she felt their power humming inside her, alive and strong. Elias fired his rifle, covering the left flank. "They're pushing forward," he shouted, sweat running down his face. The alien raised her glowing hands. "Then let them come." The first hunter charged, weapon raised. She met him head on, her hand slamming into his chest plate. A pulse of white energy burst from her skin, throwing him across the room. He crashed into a wall and lay still. Another hunter roared and swung a heavy blade of light. She dodged faster than she had ever moved before. Her scars pulsed brighter, guiding her strikes. She grabbed the blade with her bare hand, energy crackling around her fingers, and shattered it into sparks. Lily gasped, eyes wide, clutching her sketchbook against her chest. But her fear was gone. In its place was awe. She whispered softly, "She's winning." The alien spun, striking the hunter with a surge of light that sent him sprawling. For the first time, she felt not hunted but free. The leader of the hunters snarled, "You think strength changes your place? You are still a stain upon our bloodline." He fired his weapon, a blast of searing energy that tore across the room. The alien raised her arms and the blast hit her directly. For a moment, the room lit up like a star. The hunters laughed, certain she had fallen. But when the light cleared, she still stood. Her silver eyes glowed and her scars burned like rivers of fire. She had absorbed the energy. Her voice shook the air. "You call me unworthy. But these marks, these scars, they are my truth. They are not weakness. They are life, and life will not bow to your law." Her words rolled like thunder. Even Elias paused, stunned by the force of them. The leader roared and charged, his blade sparking with energy. They clashed in the middle of the room. The sound was deafening, metal against light, fury against pride. Elias covered her, firing at the other hunters who tried to flank. His shots found their targets, but the battle was endless. The hunters were disciplined, trained to kill. Still, the alien fought harder. Every strike was not only survival, but defiance. Every blow carried years of anger, shame, and rejection. Now she turned all of it into power. "You hunted me," she shouted, driving the leader back. "You named me a curse. But you never saw me. You never listened. This child did more for me with one word than you did with all your laws." The leader staggered under her blows. "You are nothing." He spat. "I am family," she roared. Her final strike lit the room with blinding light. The leader was thrown across the chamber. His weapon shattered, his armor cracked. The other hunters faltered. For the first time, they looked uncertain. This was no longer the broken exile they had mocked. This was someone who stood with dignity, with fire, with strength no law could erase. Elias lowered his rifle, his chest heaving. You did it," he said, almost in disbelief. The alien turned, her breath ragged. For a moment, she allowed herself a small smile, but it vanished when she felt the vibration under her feet. The entire station trembled. Above, the hunter's main ship hovered, massive and dark, blocking the stars. Its weapons powered up, humming with deadly energy. The scouts had been only the first wave. The real danger was here now. Elias cursed under his breath. That ship could tear this whole station apart. The alien's eyes narrowed. She had fought her people's hunters before, but never their warships. Alone she had always run. Now she could not. She looked at Lily, who clung to her sketchbook like a shield of hope. She whispered, "If I fall now, the child will die. I cannot allow it." But Lily stepped forward, her voice steady despite the fear. "You won't fall. I believe in you." The alien's heart shook. Those words gave her more strength than any weapon ever could. She turned back toward the looming shadow outside the window. Her voice was low, steady, filled with fire. "Then I will stand, not for them, not for myself, but for her." The ship's weapons glowed brighter. The station groaned under the pressure. The hunters on the ground regrouped, dragging their wounded leader back to his feet. His voice was hoarse but venomous. "You can fight us, but you cannot fight the law. The ship will burn you, burn them, and erase this shame forever." The alien stood tall, her glowing scars blazing like stars. For the first time in her life, she did not feel small. She did not feel broken. She felt whole. And she was ready to fight for more than survival. She was ready to fight for dignity. The hum of the ship's cannons filled the air, rising to a deadly pitch. Elias pulled Lily close, shielding her with his body. The alien raised her arms, light gathering in her veins like a rising storm. The final battle had begun. The station shook as the warship above charged its cannons. The glow of its weapons filled the windows, painting the walls in red light. The hunters on the ground pulled their leader upright, his armor cracked but his voice still cruel. "It ends now," he spat. "You, the humans, the child, burned to ash. The shame will be erased forever." The alien woman stood tall, her scars glowing brighter than ever before. She no longer hid them. She no longer bowed her head. But as she looked at the massive ship above, her heart tightened. Even with all her strength, how could she stop such power? Elias gripped his rifle, jaw clenched. He stood in front of Lily, ready to shield her with his life. "If they fire," he whispered, "the station won't hold." Lily pressed her face against his side, but then she looked up at the alien woman. The child's eyes were calm, filled not with fear but with determination. "Don't give up," she said softly. "Not yet." The alien's silver eyes trembled. "Child, I cannot stop that ship. My power is nothing compared to theirs." Lily shook her head. "Your power isn't just light. It's truth." The alien blinked, confused. But before she could speak, the warship's voice boomed through the comms, cold and merciless. "Unworthy one, this is your final chance. Surrender, and only you will be destroyed. Resist, and the humans with you will share your fate." The alien's lips parted, but no words came. For a moment, doubt clawed at her. She had fought so hard, but the shadow of her people's law still loomed large. And then Lily stepped forward. She slipped from her father's arms, standing in the open, her small figure illuminated by the warship's red light. Her voice rang out across the comms, clear and steady. "No." The hunters froze. The alien's heart stopped. Even Elias felt his breath catch. "You can't call her unworthy," Lily continued, her voice louder now. "You don't get to say that anymore." Her words carried through the comms, echoing into the silence of the warship above. For a moment, no one moved. "She's not broken," Lily said firmly. "She's not a curse. She's strong. She's kind. She saved me. She saved my dad. And she's beautiful." The alien's eyes filled with tears. Each word struck her like lightning, tearing through the chains of shame she had carried all her life. Lily raised her sketchbook high, opening it to the drawing of the alien standing tall, her scars glowing like stars. "This is who she is. Not your shame. Not your law. She's more beautiful than any of you, because she doesn't need to hide. She's brave. She's free. And she's mine." The hunters shifted uneasily. Even their leader faltered, his cracked mask reflecting the child's defiance. On the warship above, silence stretched. The cannons still glowed, but they did not fire. The crew, watching through their screens, stared at the image of a human child daring to challenge them. The alien woman could barely breathe. Her hands trembled, her chest heavy with emotions she had never allowed herself to feel. No law, no voice, no judge in her world had ever spoken for her. But this child, this little human, had shattered the silence with truth. The hunter's leader roared in fury, raising his weapon toward Lily. "Silence, child. You dare defy the stars?" But before he could strike, the alien woman moved. She leapt in front of Lily, her body blazing with light. Energy surged through her scars brighter than ever before until her whole form glowed like a living star. Her voice thundered across the station. "Enough, no more shame, no more lies. I am not your curse. I am not your shadow. I am seen." The hunters staggered back. Even the warship above trembled in hesitation. The alien's light poured outward, filling the station, spilling into the sky. For the first time, she did not hide her marks. She let them shine, and then silence. The warship's cannons dimmed. The hunters froze, unsure. Their law had never prepared them for this, for a child's words breaking their truth, for an exile standing unbroken. At last, the comms crackled. A voice from the warship spoke quieter than before. "If a child can see beauty where we saw none, perhaps the law is blind." The hunters looked at each other, their weapons lowering slightly. Their leader hissed in protest, but his authority wavered. Lily smiled through her tears. She clutched the alien's glowing hand, whispering, "See? I told you. You're beautiful." The alien woman collapsed to her knees, tears streaming down her glowing cheeks. She looked at Lily, then at Elias, then at the stars above. For the first time in her life, she believed the words. "So beautiful, Dad," Lily whispered, her eyes shining as she hugged the alien. "That's what I said the first time I saw her. And I was right." Elias lowered his rifle, his voice steady. "You were more than right, Lily." The warship pulled back slowly, its engines rumbling as it turned away. The hunters retreated, dragging their broken leader with them. No final words, no more threats, only silence. Inside the station, the alien wept openly, not from shame, but from release. She had been called many things in her life, but never this, never family, never beautiful. And in that moment, on a lonely moon under the watch of distant stars, the truth of a child's voice changed everything. The law had not forgiven her. But the law no longer mattered, because she had finally seen herself through human eyes, and she was no longer ashamed.